Hello, boys and girls. Okay, let's get right in here. Just quickly transition here. Go. That should be fine. So you can see the board. Okay, so we are on to a new chapter here in this middle game book, chess strategy for club players. Again, I mentioned that you should not think that it's an easy book just because of the title. You know, the title seems like, oh, club players, anyone's a club player. This is actually quite an interesting book. They got quite a bunch of different interesting concepts so far. What we have been focusing on mostly is a couple of things that you want to look at when you want to assess a position. You know, they try to dumb it down instead of having a whole 20 things list like you would have with the Steinitz. Sorry, I'm just trying to log into the chat quickly. With the Steinitz elements, you know, they dumbed it down to a few basic things that you want to look at. The first thing you want to just look at is material. Then after that, you want to look at if there is any immediate threats. And then after that, you want to look at king safety. So obviously of either player and determine whether that is a factor in the game, like here. And then from there, you look at the pawn structure. The pawn structure has a couple of level things that you want to look at. You want to look at open files, you want to look at open diagonals, you want to look at outpost squares for knights, you want to look at weak squares, and you want to look at space. Who's got more space and where on the board do they have it? And then the last thing you want to do is you want to look at the pieces. So you want to specifically look at the pieces one by one here as well. So, you know, if we just do from the last bit, let's skip the pawn structure right now because it doesn't look that important. King safety here, of course, is very important in this position. White's king looks very safe right now, whereas black's king is in the middle and could get into trouble very quickly. Let me just quickly check if everything is looking fine. Yeah, it is. Good. So yeah. So king safety is obviously a big factor here. This king is in the middle here, and that will definitely be one of the biggest things we'll look at. So let's skip pawn structure, and then we look at the pieces as well. So these two rooks don't look so great right now. This bishop doesn't look so great. This queen is stuck defending things. And this bishop, although it is quite advanced and obviously, you know, protected by a nice pawn there, it isn't doing much there. So currently, of course, black's pieces are not very active. White, on the other hand, he's got this beautiful bishop here in the center, cutting off here. He's got this pretty bishop here, which is cutting off the king here as well. His queen is not maybe in the best position as of yet, but his rooks also are both bearing down on the king in the center already. So this is the kind of thing that obviously you want to look at. Now we know that we want to obviously attack the king. Just a quick count on material, we'll see that we are 3 pawns down. We are down all of those pawns. So we are down for white. So we need to make this count. So, okay. Now you start looking for moves, okay? So obviously we start looking at the most obvious moves, okay? And one of the things I want you to look at in a position like this, when you obviously have a king in the middle and all your pieces are ready to strike, is you want to look at all the possibilities of what mate could look like. Okay, so if we could get a rook here, okay, that would be a mate. Of course, then these two pieces need to not be there, and of course this file needs to be opened up as well. But that would be a mate. So that is one of the mate concepts that you want to look at. If we could get a bishop here without any issues, this would also be mate. Or of course you would win the queen because the queen would have to block. So that is another big thing that you want to look at, because then you cut the king off like that. So that's also a mating idea. Then another mating idea would be, of course, if we could get rid of these two pawns and this bishop, because then these two rooks would also cut the king off with a mating idea. So those are the 3 mating ideas that you have in your head. Now all you want to do is you want to make moves that kind of try and make that happen. So one of the big ones was to try and open up this file for that mate, and of course for the rook to be open, and of course for the bishop to be moving with the rook being open on the f file as well. So to open this file won't be too hard, because we can do it immediately with a check. So let's look at the move. It's an obvious move. It's a check. We always look at checks first, of course. So this is one of the most obvious moves. Okay, if he obviously doesn't take, if he moves his king, let's say, can he move his king? Yeah, he can move his king. Maybe he can move his king here, but then queen g4, and then he will be checkmated. Because now he has to play here, and then that is checkmate, isn't it? So that won't work, so he can't move his king. Okay, if he blocks with the bishop, then he just loses a lot of material. Rook takes, and of course he has to lose his queen. And he's still not out of the woods anyway. We'd probably play something like check. Just want to see if we can keep going here. So rook check here, yes. And we'll just keep on coming in. If he goes here now, we'll probably play queen check. Well, I would probably play check immediately. Because now, of course, this pawn, we're going to play rook e7. So, sorry, let me just... It's itching. So, of course, the king is still in trouble because his pieces are still not really helping the king survive here. Okay, so that's not an option either. So pretty much, only option is to take the material that we are giving. Okay, now we can already see that it's much easier to get a checkmate like that or a checkmate like that. Okay, but who is stopping us from doing so? So now we start deflecting the pieces that is preventing us from doing so. Okay, so the first piece that is preventing us from doing both of those is the queen. Okay, now in the pieces that we needed in order to do the checkmate, we needed that one, we needed that one, and we needed that one for the two different options of mate, for that with a mate and for that one with a mate. So the piece that we did not need, and of course we need the bishop here to defend that one. So the piece that we did not need in the attack to make the mates happen is the queen. Important to note. Okay, now we know that this queen is preventing, obviously it's protecting this pawn and preventing this mate and preventing this mate as well. So we need to try and deflect the queen away from the c7 square where it's doing such a great job at defending everything. So we look at checks, of course, first, immediately. There are two checks that we can look at here. We have the immediate check here, which of course is a mate, so he has to take with the queen. So if he plays with the queen, and now suddenly, of course we still can't mate here because of the rook, but now we can play queen takes e5 check. But after queen e6, it doesn't seem like we have more to go on. Of course, if we take the rook down here, we are just down a whole piece and a pawn as well. And black seems to have survived now. Now he's going to play here, and then what are we going to do then? So this could get ugly very quickly. So not so nice for white. So that doesn't work. So that leaves us with one more check left. It's a little bit of a wacky one, of course. But we already said that we do not need our queen. Not for the mating net that we are trying to set. So after queen takes e5 check, now if the queen takes us, first of all, then we do have the idea now of this mate and this mate. So these are the two mates we're looking for. Now, of course, the bishop is in the way for the mate on rook d8, and the rook is preventing us from going mate here. So this rook is protecting both squares. So he is actually overloaded. So we can check the king. Of course, the king can't go anywhere now. It's completely cut off. So the rook has to take, and then this would be checkmate. So finally, we have just cleared the way for the rook to get to d8. We've deflected all the pieces away from protecting d8, and eventually we got our checkmate. Now, he doesn't have to, of course, do any of this. He could play, let's say, of course, if he plays queen here, then we would just take the queen, and of course, we would just win a lot of material. Now, we're still threatening mates if he doesn't take back, and we are threatening his rook as well. Okay? If he plays bishop here, then we have the idea of going bishop check. Okay, so note that now there's a new mate idea. We still have this threat here. We could just take it immediately as well, probably, which will also probably lead to mate. But we still have the same ideas. We can play bishop check here now because the queen has to defend the bishop, otherwise we checkmate him. So the queen can't take. The queen takes, it's checkmate. If the queen does not take, the king, the only square is there, and then of course we take the rook with mate. Whereas if we took the rook first, the king could maybe run to d7 and see if he could hide. maybe with a block or something, because your queen would be attacked. So yes, so black still survives for a little bit longer if you do take the rook first. But after bishop c6, he is going to get checkmated. It's mate in two. Okay, so bishop there is not an option either. If he plays his king now, oh yeah, let's see, king here. Let's look at this option here. We do have a discovered check, don't we? Yes, we do. So let's see what's going to be our best option here. I just want to look at our best option now. So we do have a discovered check. We just need to figure out which one is best. Okay, bishop takes f7 looks like a pretty strong one as well. Let's check now. He can block though, I guess. He can play bishop here. It's a little bit of a nuisance. Just a little bit. Okay, so bishop d6, bishop e6 check, because of course we don't want to play our queen here because the queen needs to be able to go to d5 if he goes to c6. So now if he goes to c6 after bishop check, c6, then we can win material back, but we're still not winning, are we? Uh-oh. I don't like it. So maybe we didn't, so maybe we missed something here. So if he goes king d7, that is the question. King d7. How do we prevent him from doing anything, for that matter? Okay, we can check on the white squares, obviously. Sorry, let's check on the white squares. So queen f5 check. There we go. That makes more sense. Now the king has only one square. Okay, I guess he could go back here. Then we have a bunch of overloading ideas again now. Now this queen is protecting this and protecting this at the same time. So we would just be able to play bishop takes f7 check. Now the queen has to take, otherwise it is going to be mate. The king can't move anywhere. So queen has to take, and then we take checkmate. There we go. So now the rook on c8 is hanging as well. If he goes king d6, forward march, I say, children. Is there a quick mate here? We of course have the discovered check, so I guess we can just move the bishop. Yes, doesn't really matter where we go with the bishop apparently. No, but then he can go to c6, so obviously it does matter where we go with the bishop, doesn't it? So what if we just go here? Check. Now the king can't go here because of the bishop. King can't stay in this file because of the rook. And it can't go here, here, or here because of the queen and the bishop. So that's it. That's all she wrote. There's nothing that can block the check, so bishop takes f3 would be mate. Okay. So that seems to be the thing. I mean, there's nothing left after king d7, queen f5. There's nothing left for him. It's only king e8 and king d6, and we found a mate for both ways. So that's it. So any move that he makes, it ends up being checkmate. Perfect. So that is definitely the solution to the puzzle. But it all starts by realizing that you have two very big mate ideas with this and with this. Okay? Those are your two big mating ideas. And in order for you to be able to do those, you only need this, this, and this piece. So suddenly you know that these two are disposable. So that's why the first move is quite simple, because you want to open up the D file. And then the second move is even more interesting. Sorry, did we play there first? No. We did play queen takes e5 first. That's the correct one, yes. So after queen e5, we also realize that, of course, now if the queen takes, we do have bishop c6 and rook d8 mate. Cool. That is that one. So let's just save that one. Perfect. Oh, it's a little dark in here. Just hold on. I realized that I didn't turn on the light, so it's a little dark, maybe. Obviously, the webcam does have a little light for my face. Okay, let's see if we can tackle the next one. The next one's obviously going to be much harder, so let's jump right in here. This is a Bobby Fischer game, so, you know, it's obviously probably one of those very popular ones that we might have seen before, but doesn't mean that the concept is not great still. Okay, so here, again, if we assess the position real quick, we can see that black is up a pawn. First of all, black is up a pawn. That's one of the things we want to look at. Then, is there any immediate threats? Yes, there is. You can take our bishop. We're assuming it's white to play, so there is an immediate threat already on the board. Okay, it's threatening to take our piece. Okay, and then we look at king safety. Okay, so now this king does look, I mean, at least he's been castled, so I'm not sure about his king safety about this, because rook on g8 here, he does get some pressure. Maybe f5 after that, and queen h4. So I'm not quite convinced about the king safety of white here. But, on the other hand, black's king does not look great in the center either. So this is important, very, very important to note that both kings do look a little bit iffy right now. Okay, then, okay, pawn structure, if we're going to have to look at pawn structure, it's probably not important for this because of the king safety issues once again. King safety here is going to trump the pawn structure, because pawn structure we mostly look at from a positional point of view. Here the pawn structure is not as important as the fact that the kings are very, very iffy. Okay, and then we look at the pieces. Now, black's pieces are still a little underdeveloped, so, these pieces are still not doing much. Sorry, get the right thing here. These pieces are not doing much. This knight is pinned here, so, a little bit of an issue as well for the knight. So the only piece that black has that's really nice is this bishop here, which can be chased away. Oh, sorry, with the immediate threats, there's two pieces that are hanging, isn't there? Yowza cakes. Yowza cakes. Okay, so there's two pieces that are hanging. Sorry, I kind of completely just missed that. Of course, we can save them by maybe playing knight c6 and attacking his queen, etc. But anyway, okay, pieces. Whereas white's pieces are, the only piece that needs to come out of here is this one, and then this one to get part of the attack. Okay, because the rest of them are already, all of them are hitting towards the center. Sorry, that arrow went a little skew. So all of these pieces are already in the center here. As you can see, all the arrows are pointing towards the black king. So we can quickly see that we want to attack the black king. The question is, how are we going to do that? Now we know there's an immediate threat already on our two pieces. Okay? So material might not be the most important part here. Okay, we always know this with sacrifice, with king hunts, that material is not so important as long as you can use all your forces and can obviously bring in more pieces to the attack. So the quickest move that comes to mind here is a move like rook takes e4, because after pawn takes, our bishop will not be hanging anymore, and our knight would then be able to go to f5. So just a simple variation. Let me just show you. Here, here, and here. So this looks quite logical. This knight's on a really, really beautiful square now. This bishop has now suddenly been activated quite nicely as well. The queen's still doing its job. We're going to be able to get this bishop into the game quickly if he's not careful. Like if he tries to move his bishop, our bishop will be able to go to h6. And of course, our rook will come to d1. So this current position looks pretty solid for white. But we obviously have to figure out what is black going to play from here on. It doesn't look like he has an easy task here. Does not look like he has an easy task. Obviously the bishop also can't go too far away from d6 square because of the knight going to check on d6. And then taking on f7. Interesting. Interesting. The question is just, what would black play here? That is my question here. What would black play? Black is up material, remember that. So keep that in mind. Bishop c5 looks logical, but I don't like this bishop h6 idea here. Not a big fan. Or maybe even knight g7 check. Maybe even knight check. Because, of course, then the king is not able to castle anymore ever again in life. And if he goes here, we got bishop h6. Now the king is going to have to go here. And now after the knight comes back here, we have ideas of queen. Sorry, we just did that right. Queen here and here. You know, after the knight goes back to f5. So this looks quite nasty. So I don't know if bishop c5 is helping at all. But if you can't develop the bishop, what are you going to play? Because you can't wait either. You know, if you just wait, you're going to die as well. Like, let's say rook g8, we go bishop e3, just developing a piece. Now what do you play? Now I'm threatening to play rook d1. I mean, this is getting very, very desperate already. Very desperate. Surely black is just losing here. If he can't castle, he moves his rook, will take on a6 with the bishop, because then bishop b5 is also a threat. I mean, this is going badly very quickly. Very, very quickly. And bishop takes a6 will happen as well anyway. Because after rook d1, the queen will be pinned, the knight will be pinned, so then we take, and then of course we have these threats. I can't see it. I can't see how that's going to survive. So if he doesn't develop his bishop, it just looks like bishop e3, rook d1, and you're just dead. You are going to get killed here. Maybe even after that, bishop d4, d5 I mean, with bishop c6. You know, your problems are not going to go away. This is the problem for black, is that, you know, by sitting in the middle of the board, your issues are not going away. This knight is so beautifully placed here. Covers a lot of squares where the bishop would love to go. Okay, so that looks like definitely, I mean, we will go and look a little bit further at that position. Maybe I'll just obviously look in the book and see what did black play if that position is reached. So after takes here, is there anything else he can do? What if he changes the move order? So let's say he doesn't take there. What if he takes here possibly? I mean, of course, then we don't even lose any material, but there are some threats, of course. If we play knight here, then he can play knights. No, he can't play his knight still, huh? So maybe we just play knight here anyway. And the same problems are still here. And we're not down any material. This pawn is going to go down. We're still going to play bishop h6 or bishop e3. The rook d1 is still going to happen. And of course, we are going to get our material back easily as well. So you have the same problems for black here. And you're not up material. Okay, so that move doesn't work. And of course, he cannot play this because he's pinned. And he also cannot play this because the knight's pinned as well. Okay, so this looks like the variation we're going to get. So this is just the question is, what does black play now? So let's quickly see in the book if they can tell us what black played. Okay, black did play bishop c5. Okay. Bishop c5, knight g7 is the move I looked at or thought would be better. Let me just promote this variation real quick. There we go. Definitely our top variation. So king f8. I mean, if king... Why is this not up? If king e7, just, you know, you might as well look at it. Okay, king e7. I mean, it might not be the worst move ever. Oof, maybe it is. Maybe it is. We have ideas like maybe b4 with bishop a3 and b5. Of Of course, the bishop cannot go back to d6 now as well. So b4 looks quite strong. Of course, he can move his knight now, I guess. So we have to be a little careful, huh? Yes, he can move his knight. He does suddenly have access to the knight. So we have to be a little careful. Just a teensy-weensy bit careful. I mean, trading off pieces maybe is fine as well. Maybe we can just play bishop e3 as well. But okay, again, this knight coming here is a bit of a nuisance for me. Okay, maybe... no. Yeah, okay, sorry, we can check, can't we? Yeah. You can't play queen d6 because of knight f5. So, okay. Maybe he's not as safe as I would have liked. Because now if the king moves, we obviously just fork. Okay, let's go back. Knight c5 maybe instead. Blocking this as well. Now queen b4 or a3 of course. Looks good. It's going to have to protect. So maybe let's play rook c8. We could play bishop takes a6 in this variation. I'm not quite sure. So king e7. So if he plays king e7, what do we do? That is interesting. Yeah, okay. So he has to play king e7. I just looked at the quick variation that they show. If he plays king f8, of course, then yeah, bishop h6, king there, and then queen b3. Because now we're just going to go queen g3 and knight f5. There's not much you can do about it. It looks devastating. Because, of course, we're threatening, after queen b3, we're threatening mate on f7 now as well. You see, sir, you see. So now let's say what? Queen e7, yeah. And then just knight f5 attacking and threatening mate. Okay, so that is over real fast. Okay, so king e7. That is where we are left. King e7. Now, okay, he can't castle anymore. So we can go back with our knight to f5 as well. The king goes back to e8. And then we play again. Because I liked that we had the pin on this position. So let's go knight f5. I just want to... let me just promote this variation now. Yes, because I want it to be on top because it is our main variation. There we go. Okay, so I like knight f5. The king goes back to e8. And now we can start again because now we again still have this pin here. Maybe now in this position bishop e3 is an interesting idea as well. We of course do have bishop h6 as well. Definitely possible as well, bishop h6. Because these pieces do struggle to play. They do struggle to play. So we just need to get in here now. Bishop e3, let's just look at it. If he takes us, we take with a pawn. And now again his problems are that he is stuck. Okay, I guess maybe his king could go to f8 now. No, it can try. It looks dirty. Maybe we don't want to trade off that bishop. I mean, his bishop is not very great either. We do have rook d1, of course, as still our plan to play something like this. Okay. Let's have a look at if we don't play that. We could play bishop d2 as well, but it's a bit slow because it stops the rook from playing rook d1 with an effect. So bishop h6, let's go back to that again. Have a solid look at that. Okay, now if he goes back bishop f8, maybe. This is the only concern I really had. Okay, then we can play bishop e3, I assume. Or do we take? Do we really take that? Do we really take that? I don't want to take that. Okay, if we take it, king will take. I guess we do have checks. Maybe queen a3 check. I see where they're going with this. I see where they're going with this. Okay, okay. So that does win quickly, doesn't it? Because, of course, now if the king goes this way, there is a mate. And if the king goes this way, there is not a mate, though. It's not mate, is it? It's not mate. Oh, it is mate, sorry. Queen g3 check, king goes back, queen g7 check, king goes here, and mate. Because we still have this bishop. Still have the bishop. Okay, so that's mate. So, okay, if he plays bishop f8, we can just take it. If he takes with the rook, is it still mate? Yeah, knight check, king goes here, and queen a3. I guess it's not mate yet. It will be. Knight blocks, check. Queen blocks, check. King goes back, take. It's going to be mate eventually. He's not going to be able to survive this. Okay, good. So that kills. Okay, so you can't play bishop f8. Perfect. So bishop h6 starting to look much, much better. So our threat now is very simple. Rook d1, and then of course we just need to pile on some pressure. We can probably play bishop g7 with bishop takes f6 as well. Because if queen takes, we take. And if the knight obviously can't take because it's pinned as well. So that is the kind of idea of the bishop h6. So what does black play? Once again, what does black play now? We know bishop f8 is not an option. So what does black play? See if we can just see what black played. Very tough to decide what does black play now. Okay, maybe rook g8 for now. Queen b3 ideas are in the air still as well. We do have queen b3 ideas. Bishop takes f7 as mate. So many mates here. So the queen is... So what's the... I mean, what does black play here? This looks devastating. Did I miss anything? Maybe... Okay, he can't castle, of course. Maybe he plays queen out. Not there. That would be... Okay, yeah, queen b6. Okay, okay. We forget that we don't have a threat on d7 yet. And now we can go king to d8 maybe. And he's threatening here as well. Not that I like this. I mean, rook d1. What? Takes here. We go king h1. Now he's going to be careful of this. Maybe rook a7. Yeah. Because he wants to have an escape square for his king. But I mean, is this really, you know, the kind of position that black can survive? Surely white will just win this in the end. Surely. Even bishop takes f7 looks juicy right now. Yeah, bishop takes f7. Bishop takes f7. King takes, and of course we just take here, and things all go very, very quickly. Pear shapes. Takes, takes, king goes here. It is protected. The knight's protected right now. So g4, and then we have mate threat here. Wow. Gonna mate him on. Okay, look at this. Rook g there. Knight check. King takes h6. Knight check. King here. Oh, king here. Okay, well, does it really matter too much? Queen check. Okay, maybe we can go back this way. Check. Is there a mate though? It looks like we might not be able to mate though. This queen is protecting f6. And we've gone very far now, very deep into this line now. I mean, bishop e3 is still, it still looks like a logical move as well. Because if we do get rid of the bishop, then I still don't like black's position here. Maybe this does make more sense because, of course, now he doesn't have any counterattacks. He's got to be very careful now. Rook d1 is a very strong move. I mean, this was my original idea, was to play bishop takes bishop e3. I mean, let's reveal. Let's reveal. Okay, bishop e3 is the move, and he did take, and then of course f takes. We do want to take with the f pawn. Makes complete sense. They give it a little exclamation mark. Whoa, come on, of course. Yeah, so they're just saying, of course not knight takes, because the knight is beautifully placed on f5, so active pieces are best left where they are. Well, here's a little nugget for you, little golden nugget for you guys. Okay, so let's play queen b6, because, you know, this is the kind of move that I was looking at the whole time for black. Okay, putting some pressure here, but of course our knight defends, so it's perfect. This knight really is a beautiful piece. Now, rook d1 still looks very tempting. Very juicy indeed. So let's say rook d1 and rook d8 or a7. Probably a7. I would assume that rook a7 was played. So now we just have to continue. Force our way in even further. I missed a move in the previous variation, sorry. I missed a move in the previous variation. With our bishop on h6. Sorry. Yeah, rook here. I missed this move. Boom. Maybe? Okay, here maybe it doesn't have the effect that it would have had on the other board. Like we would have had on the other board. And of course he didn't have to take on f2 as well. So maybe this is why we didn't want to play bishop h6. He didn't have to take here. Could play rook a7 immediately. And now d6 is not a square that we can get to. Because of the bishop. Okay, so maybe this is why, you know, bishop e3 makes a bit more sense. Bishop e3 takes queen b6, rook d, rook a7, and now rook d6 looks quite obvious. Quite obvious, I say. Quite obvious. Okay, can he play queen takes b2? I mean, greed is good, folks. Greed is good. Let's see what he played. He played queen d8. So he went back to queen d8. Okay. So now what? Now what, dear Watson? Now what? Maybe queen a3. Cheap out time. Queen a3 because of rook e6 check. Oh, but it's not mate anymore. Yawn. I'm trying to mate him. Trying to mate. Okay, so all we have to do now basically is just focus on the weaknesses. Okay, weakness number 1, f7. Now the problem is the d knight, which is being pinned right now. So maybe bishop d5 even and bishop c6 ideas. Just piling on more pressure. That is definitely a possibility. What else? Obviously the king. King is still very, very weirdly placed there. Ah, okay, the knight is now obviously pinned as well here, so queen b3 looks very logical now, just attacking this. Because the knight can't play knight c5. I was looking at knight c5, of course, but then you just take his queen with the check, and then you move your queen, and you're winning. So queen b3 is looking very strong now. Queen b3. Looks very obvious. How does he defend that? Does he play rook f8 and trap his king even further? That looks painful. Painful to watch. Love it. Hmm. Oh, is rook f8 really the only option? I guess there's no immediate threat if we do take on f7 possibly. So maybe queen c7? Oof. It's not pretty. Okay, now, the queen d8, I'm assuming that, let me just go down this road. Yeah, queen b3 was played, and I just want to see what they say black played. Yeah, black played queen c7, you see. Because, of course, now he's giving his king an escape square, and the knight can finally move as well. So that's why he wants to move queen c7. So now there must be something. There must be something entertaining here for us. So bishop takes f7 if king goes. Okay, bishop takes f7. I mean, it looks logical. King goes to d8. Then, of course, the knight is pinned again. Then can't we just play here? Starting to look really, really bad. Because he has no counter attacks. So bishop e6 looks strong. Looks very painful, bishop e6. Very painful. If the king goes this way, let's just quickly deal with this variation. Probably... no, okay. Trying to see for a quick finish here. Queen e6 maybe? Hopping in here? Yep. Just hop, hop, hopscotch. Now remember that there's no counter checks anytime soon, because of course this pawn is also protected by the knight. So king goes to h2, and we're quite happy with our king right there. So now we're threatening queen e8 mate, and of course the knight on d7 is still hanging, so if any pieces try to defend. So there's a queen d8. Check doesn't help at all. Queen c8 or d8? d8. Queen d8. And now just bishop moves, don't we? Bishop to h5. Threatening mate. The queen can't stop that. So he can move his knight, but then he loses his queen. If he moved his queen to c8, it would have been the same problem. We would have had this pin. So, okay, that looks done. Done and dusted. So it's only king d8. Now, I looked at bishop d6. Bishop e6, I mean, sorry. We also have a possible queen e6 in this variation as well. With queen takes f6 as a threat. So queen e6 here looks strong as well. Also very tempting. Very tempting. Very tempting. With this, sorry, with queen takes here because the knight's pinned and queen takes the rook. Then we're just up material and winning the game. So that is possible. And again, if king goes here, then we can just pin the queen. Okay, so that goes down in flames really quickly as well. So that looks done. Let's see. Okay, let's go back. It was this position. Let's see what was played. Maybe I did mess this up a little. Yeah, bishop takes s6, king d8, and he did play bishop e6. He did play bishop e6 instead. So that was my first move, was bishop e6, but I did like queen e6 as well. Apparently he resigned in this position because after a possible variation like rook b7, queen d5, makes sense, queen c8, I mean all those pieces are just really pinned. Queen a5 check, king e8, and rook takes a6. Threatening the obvious. Everything is being threatened everywhere. That's being threatened. Sorry, there's a check here being threatened. So lots of problems to solve here. Okay, I guess knight d6 is the big one. Sorry. Knight d6 is the big one, but I did like queen e6 as well. I mean, is there anything you can do against queen e6 here? Did I miss something here? I mean, queen e6? Like I said, we have the obvious threat of just taking the rook. Maybe he can... No, I was looking, maybe he can play rook f8. But then after check, king goes here, knight takes. We also win the rook. But maybe he's still surviving here. Hey, maybe he is surviving here after queen. Oh, he can't play queen takes because of the pin. I see, I see. I like it. I like it very much now. Yeah. I like it much more now. If he plays here, we take here. If he takes here, we play knight check. King goes wherever, and we can even just take... I guess we can just go check here, yeah. And then we take the rook. Then we're winning, of course. If he plays queen check, like they were looking at... Oh, sorry. Queen check. King moves. And now what? What, rook takes maybe? Takes check. King moves. We still have an attack. What? Why would you want to go there? Don't be stupid. Queen check? Can we play queen check? Queen check. With bishop e6. Or even bishop c4 to come. There's no mate threats on our king, so we don't have to worry about that. This still looks very strong for white, but maybe the other option was better, wasn't it? Okay, that's where we're going to stop. It's a very interesting position. I like this position. All about the king being in the middle. So that's what we're busy with. We'll be busy with the king being stuck in the center of the board. And we obviously then going ahead and, forcing open lines. In this case, we forced the king to not be able to check. This was a nice little combination. He played here, knight f5, and after bishop c5, he played knight check. King went to e7. He just went back with the knight. King went to e8. And now it's his move again. But now the difference is black cannot castle. So that was the kind of the cool idea behind knight g7 and then just dropping the knight back again. Okay. Cool. I think that's where we'll stop for this this session. I think this was like number 7 or something. So not a bad way to go. Bobby Fischer getting a really nice game there. Cool, guys. Then I will see you guys. Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to kill a couple of things because of power outages. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys.